And we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, Intuition of the Soul. I'm Amy J.
And I'm Kitty Foss. We have a first. We have a first. So first of all, our guest, Susan Kennard, is not here. We confirmed yesterday. We've had an exchange, so we hope that everything's okay.
Yeah.
And that, hi,
Always
Sandra.
putting energy out for that.
That we want to make sure that, we'll be reaching out to her. Oh, Sandra said she can jump on. Okay. And we will. We'll send it to you. Yeah, I do. I hope all is well. Of course, I'm Kitty, so I'm going to go back and look at, did I make a mistake? And no, I did confirm that it's 5 p.m. her time. We were going to be on at noon our time. I sent her a copy of the flyer. And so she did tell me she's in London with her laptop. So it could be a Mercury retrograde issue.
Hey, it's never happened to us before, so we're just going with the flow, ladies and gentlemen.
So, yeah. So maybe we'll have Sandra jump on. Joanne, what the heck, Maybe we'll just have like a little group meeting or whatever. And, Susan messaged me.
Oh.
Sorry, just arrived in London. Bear with me. Will it use a Zoom platform? Traffic was crazy.
Okay.
And I got to tell her we're on. So, Amy, go ahead, talk.
Okay, so this is pretty much just indicative of the energy we're having. So when Kitty and I were getting into that, we haven't heard from her yet. Maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe she's not coming on. We weren't surprised necessarily. It's never happened to us before. So we knew that we did everything and the intentions were good. We was hoping nothing was happening to her or happened to her that she couldn't make it. But it's kind of that energy out there. There's been a lot of unpredictable things happen and a lot of ups and downs and shadows and different types of energies coming in this week. So really for me, I'm not surprised. I would love to have her on. I was very excited about it. So maybe we can still make that happen, but I'm not surprised. I don't know what anybody else is feeling out there. Love Mercury, likely Mercury, Mary says. Yeah.
So, all right. So she's going to try. Hopefully we see her on in just a few minutes. Yes. Mercury retrograde and Venus went direct today. And so the energy is heavy. It's very heavy. Mercury is working with Mars and Saturn is in a new constraint of its journey through, and we're in new pieces of Capricorn that we're all dealing with, which is that larger energy. So she's gearing up. So hopefully she just arrived in London, and she's going to be on the fly. Thanks, Nancy.
I would be like so hyper when I got on.
Well, I did offer her the opportunity. I said, look, if this is too crazy, we can reschedule. We got great people here that can roll with the punches. As Nancy just says, it's been a roll kind of week.
Oh, so absolutely, Nancy.
It really has. And whatever the undercurrent is that we keep dipping in and out of, it's moving us forward, but it's kind of moving us like this sometimes. So, you know.
Yeah. Yep, your toe gets dipped in there, and then before you know it, you're like, what is going on? You're up to your knees, and then you climb back out, and it's like, but that's okay.
So I'm not trying to be rude. I am literally writing her as we speak.
Okay, so I will, I'll sing. No, maybe we should have Sandra come on to sing.
She did a great dance to applause with Lady Gaga the other day. We were all dancing away. Hey, let's do a little Mercury dance. All right, come on, woohoo! We can get this going.
I'd have to stomp my feet. Stomp.
So I'm going to resend.
Sandra's laughing. We're serious, Sandra. It's not funny, no.
It is funny though.
I'm teasing. Getting on here. Well, anyways, so say, hey, again, this has never happened, and we're rolling with it, and it's still gonna happen. So isn't that little? We kind of got our feet wet, and now we're kind of climbing back out of it, and
it's a first for us here. So there's just all kinds of wacky
and
doodle
probably
things
won't be
happen.
the last. I'm assuming that
But
for the years to come, this might happen again.
my vibe for this week definitely is about that things are expanding and rolling a little more forward. Still going to have some of those. I loved your slip and slide on a sandpaper, water over the top, but you're not quite moving the way you think you're going to move. So
A little bit, yeah.
um,
Well, yeah, and that's it's the sandpaper is becoming less coarse. You're moving a little bit more, but I don't know that it's completely gone.
yeah.
Still a little bit of that.
Well, February feels like, Joanne's also volunteering to come on. So we may have Sandra and Joanne if
That's so
you are
sweet.
so sweet. You rock it,
I love
guys. We really appreciate it.
that.
But this is the momentum, and I think you're going to find that February is like we may long for the days of sandpaper at times.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a point where all that sandpaper, is going to completely disappear, and then mixed with the water is going to be some other kind of lubricant or something that's going to make it even faster.
Perhaps that's why,
like you said, like whoa.
perhaps that's why physically she says she's getting there. So we're still in communication. Perhaps that's why everything is going cold right now, so it can get kind of more dense and we can get ready to slip and slide along. Some amazing temperatures coming out this morning. I was speaking to some people in Chicago that had after you get past minus 20 something, I start going,
Yeah, after it gets down below zero, like who cares?
Yeah. And by the way, just as a fun thing, if you've never done this, we will let you know, Joanne. Thank you. And thank you. Yes, there is a message. Amy was saying that this morning. And I contacted her and said, hi, Christy. I said to her, I'm a little nervous about that. And then as the time was ticking down, I'm like, well, and Amy's like, perhaps that's what you were vibing on this morning, Kitty. So, so we're
some kind of glitch. Yeah.
I prefer glitches in the Matrix, thank you. Than this kind of glitch. It is it's an interesting time out there as things are starting to move ahead, and spiritually we're going to all be encountering these kinds of things of what do we do, where do we go, how does this work. Thank you, Nancy. Nancy says we have so many people who are loving and supporting us as we climb our manifestation mountain. Yes. So let's all send Susan okay, let's see if this works. So it's there is definitely this wonderful change that we're all holding space for and getting our own little stations at Mission Control ready for this great taking off. And it's really wonderful how many people are kind and blessing us and sitting here on the way listening to us fill time.
Well, but going back to what Sue said about the lesson and how we were talking about that too, Kitty, it's like that's why it's happening now. That's why it's never happened to us before. Because there is a lesson, there is something, to learn from this. It's new. We're looking at new. New, you hear new worlds, new manifestations, new ascension. That word is being all over, thrown all over. So this is new for us. So there is some type of lesson here for us. And maybe it's that we have some better material for when this happens so that we can entertain our audience.
As we were talking about, we could pull a card. Both Sandra and Joanne have volunteered to come on.
Yes, and that is just so sweet.
So So amazing. So amazing.
Very kind.
Oh,
Kindness, yes.
falling into arms. Look at that. That's exactly what's happening for us. Thank you so much.
And it's got purple in it.
Happy birthday, Tina.
Yeah, happy birthday, Tina.
Happy birthday, Tina. It's her birthday. She's joining us on her birthday. How honoring, So, and, look at the other card that came out. Unity, hope, and luck. The rainbow.
I love it.
So.
I just love it. I mean, it's just, there's just a lot of kind, loving energy right now that I'm feeling from all of you. That, you're just, I can just feel it. It feels wonderful. Thank you.
It does. We're still waiting. She's getting there. She's in London traffic. I at least have a picture of what London is. Unity here in Canada. Thank you so much. Yes, we have wonderful. I've always loved my northern neighbors anyway. Growing up in Michigan with Windsor over,
Yeah.
I've been many a time over that Ambassador Bridge.
As a northern neighbor, because it's really south of you, but it's Canada. It's part of Canada, right?
Oh, Unity here in Canada. Yeah, when growing up in Detroit, it was northwest. It was all around us. Yeah. Hi, Sabrina. So Sabrina, we're killing time. Our guest speaker has said she's on it. There she is! Yay!
Where's my cursor? There you go. Add to the stream.
Rubbish lighting, the rubbish background, because we literally didn't have time to set up anything. So I'm really sorry, but you just have to have me raw.
We are so. You're you. This is about as organic as it gets. We have amazing people on who have.
Oh, fantastic!
When we went north, or when we went live, live. They're like, well, we prayed that nothing had happened. That was our main.
Oh no, just honestly coming up because I live on the coast, and so we left, and it took like nearly 3 hours instead of 2. So that's why. Yeah, so we were away for the weekend in London. So I'm at my friend's house, so I'm actually in her son's bedroom.
We so appreciate.
I'd look a bit more professional, but never mind.
No, we're here to have fun. If you gotta, somebody bring that lady a glass of wine though. After rushing to do all this.
That's after,
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
So
so thank you so much for inviting me. It's really lovely of you.
Oh, we're very excited to have you. Sandra Pelly's on. I know that you've interviewed her before too, and we had people saying, "Hey, we'll all go on and talk," and we're like, we're glad that nothing was.
No.
Something had happened. So welcome to Intuition of the Soul. We haven't actually had a chance even to talk to her about. Normally we come on a little bit earlier. This is our platform of where we have a chance to have a safe space for people to meet and talk about their spirituality. I've posted your podcast before. Our good friend Chrissy Newman has been on it. Sandra Pelly's been on it. And so we wanted to invite you to come in and help. What we do in this hour usually is share our stories of how you got where you are and what you do. And, and we can all take a breath with you. Okay, everybody, collective breath to help her out.
I'm fine, actually. Yeah.
Well, you're better than we are. Both of us were like, we would be like.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out how to entertain our audience, and singing was not on the list.
So
I'm fine.
And you can roll with the punches very well. So kudos to you. So anyway, would you introduce yourself to our and tell us a little bit about you?
Absolutely. So I'm often known as the spiritual scientist. And the reason for that is that I incorporate my traditional background, which was in psychotherapy, psychology, neuropsychology, naturopathy, all that kind of stuff. And I incorporate that with my channeled source. So I work with my guides. I've worked with my guides knowingly for about 25, 30 years, and been a psychologist and a psychotherapist for the same amount of time, really. So in a sense, on the cards, I didn't expect to be working with spirit, but obviously I decided that a long time ago and resisted it for a very long time, being a bit of a scientist. But I love the fact now that, over the last 12, 13 years, I stepped out of the spiritual closet And I really owned the fact that I wasn't just a psychologist, that I didn't just use that. I actually did work with my guides, and I'm able to see into the body, and I'm clairvoyant, I'm clairsentient, and I can hear everything as well. So when the guides come in, it's pretty profound, and I feel very honored that that's how it works. So I help people to heal themselves on a deep level, whether that's their physical body showing a message because their soul is talking to them, or whether it is an emotional childhood trauma, something like that, or whether it is that they just really want to align fully to their mission. And I would say that if you stopped me in a lift or an elevator and said, what do you do? I would say, it's my mission to align you to your mission. And that would really be, what I do and what I feel my mission is.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
It is beautiful. And I absolutely love how you can meld those two worlds together, the scientific and the spiritual.
Yeah.
I think that we don't do enough of that. Like Kitty and I were talking about this a long time ago, how it felt like that was more prevalent maybe years and years and years and years ago, and then it got separated. And now bringing it back together, so I love that.
That's a good point. It did feel separated, definitely. And I think we're seeing, in the world, obviously, unless people have been in a coma for 2 years, they know what's going on. And it's a big awakening and ascension operation, really. And so we're looking at, what are our values? Where do we see ourselves as our own inner healer? Or do we feel that something outside of us can fix us? And I think that is quite a big indication of what's going on now. And so people are realizing that we are incredible beings of light, and they're awakening to who they truly are, which is a really exciting time.
It is. It's amazing. And I really heard when you said, I fought. I did that for many years myself, where, and I actually, to give myself the space, didn't understand that not everybody was hearing what I was hearing or process things the same way. And would you kind of share how that happens? Because many of us, I'm 61, are women in our
52.
Well, I was surprised when you said 30, because I was thinking, oh, what is she, 40? She's been doing it since she was 10, And so, how you kind of, how did that process happen that you started to embrace it? Because I know that was very difficult. First of all, I wasn't aware, and then it was,
Sure. So I think, we have major spiritual awakenings, and obviously my podcast is called The Spiritual Awakener. But the first one I would say was when I awakened to my abilities. But I think the major one, that was obviously pivotal, but that was when I was 27. But the major one was when I became a single parent with 2 babies who are now, you might hear them in the background later, but they're 14 and nearly 13. And they were newborn baby and just, a few months old themselves. And I became a single parent. And it was at that time, I think it was like this major awakening that I had to do something to shift. Look, I couldn't sit there with 2 babies and not be a success. And it wasn't about money, but it was about actually utilizing my gifts. And so I would say that was a pivotal awakening moment when I realized that the person that I thought I was going to be with, and we used to work on the platform together and we write a book and all sorts of stuff, had these 2 children together very fast. It was a whirlwind, one of those relationships, a karmic one, but meant to be. And I thought that was going to be our life. And then when I realized that actually that was not going to be our life, that's when I had to really wake up again. And that's when I retrained in energy work and so on. And then I really realized that I had to own the fact that I was a channel for source. I was a medium. I'd been doing it for a very long time, but I hadn't blended the two. I hadn't told people that when I was working as a therapist with them, I hadn't told them that I was talking to my guides at the same time. And I could see in their field, what was going on. I could see into the cells. I could see everything. And I hadn't told anyone. So then I just decided that actually it was time to step out of the spiritual closet. It's ironic, right? And just to sort of say, well, actually, I had to own who I was. And once I really owned who I was, and this is what I help people with, is actually the universe lined up. And that's when, well, it was really interesting. Media, you know, TV, all that kind of stuff happened. And it happens not necessarily for everybody, but it happened for me when I awakened to who I was truly meant to be in the world. And then, of course, it was a journey. It wasn't overnight, as you know. It's always like, and it's still going on. You know, it's a journey of, you know, is this the part of my life that I really want to walk on? And so, of course, we meander through things, but always guided. And I think one of the major things about it is to really honor who you are. And so there's nothing like two babies not knowing how you're going to pay your mortgage to actually awakening to who you are. So that was a very long time ago now, but it's just a journey, isn't it? A journey of remembering who we are and stepping onto that.
It's a for me, there was a big surprise when I started to meld the two. When I would go back at things that I would see, you know, they'll tell you I was a closet astrologer for 30 years doing, and I kept them very separate and realizing that things had been talking to me for a long, long time.
I love astrology as well. You know, I'm an intuitive astrologer as well. So I love the science of that. So I'm really with you on that. You know, it's amazing science.
I'm a Capricorn girl in the first house with Jupiter, in the first house, right, Sagittarius rising. Yeah, and
right now, huge amount of energy in Capricorn, right?
Right, but I love your story because it actually, for me, one of the guides was Donna Eden, when she told the story about how she could see meridians and she didn't realize nobody else could. And I went, is that why I've been getting this information for all of these years? I mean, what was it like when you would sit with people and, I mean, did you had to edit it? Were you aware what it was, what you were seeing, or?
Well, because I'd kind of led a parallel life. I worked on the platforms in London as a medium, and I'd worked in child protection as a trauma specialist. So I'd led this parallel life where I was kind of like, in one part of my life, I was a medium, and I kind of did, in those times, you just didn't really talk about it. But the girls in the office said, oh, do reading for me. And it was all that kind of like secret stuff. And on the other side was working in child protection in drugs and alcohol and domestic abuse and all of that. So then I'd been working with my guides all that time. So I totally trusted them. So it wasn't a new thing that I was experiencing, but the new thing was actually being brave to say, actually, I talk to dead people. No, I didn't say that, but I talk to those that have passed over. I talk to those that have passed over, and I also work with my guides. And then I'd say about 5 years ago, the galactics came in, and it evolves as our vibration, our frequency raises, and we heal ourselves more and more, as you know. We know who we are more and more, and we remember who we are more and more, and we trust our guides, and our frequency shifts. And so as our frequency shifts, more guides, different energies come in and work with us. So at that point, I would say that it was just the doorway to talk to my clients and just say, look, what I'm really feeling intuitionally is this. And so that was my doorway. It was sort of like, I was talking about my intuition. I had a lot of people that were really unwell, you know, with many different cancers and things like that. So I had a practice in Harley Street in London. And that is a place where it's known as the medical epicenter of London. And so lots of doctors are on there, but I was at the other end. I was at number 7 Harley Street. And that's where it's alternative, but not everyone knows that. And so they used to come in and they knew that it was complementary and alternative. And it was the door opening for me. And I said, look, you know, you'll come to see me as a psychotherapist and a trauma specialist, but I actually have this ability to use my intuitive, and so do you. So I kind of help people use it as well. And that was my doorway, and it just kind of naturally happened. And then, of course, the doors opened, literally. The universe obviously lined up because I was lining up to a point. And that's when just the BBC documentary came, and Lorraine Kelly on the breakfast show, and it was all like really fun stuff that happened, and that was a stepping stone. So yeah.
So that's really great. It's like, was it like a point where you were thinking, okay, I have these two, but your guides, you know, are just telling you you've got to put them together, or that you've got to meld them somehow? Did it feel like that
Just felt very natural, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just felt very natural because I'd been doing it for a long time. The only difference was that I just owned it. Yeah, that I just said, yeah, actually. Yeah, I take a long time to own things. It seems to be throughout my life. It's like I get pushed into these things, and the universe is like guiding me. There's something happening at the moment I'm being guided with, and I'm being pushed into it, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, at some point I'm going to accept that, right? And it takes me a while. And so when I teach people mediumship, they're like, well, how did you do it? And I'm like, it took years because I didn't want to do it. It wasn't my, I didn't want to do that. It just happened. Whereas people just want to really do it now. They want to learn. They're like, just like that. And I can do that with them because everyone's being fast tracked. But I definitely wasn't fast tracked. And I'm someone who likes evidence for everything. So right now, I'm working with quite a few people that have got adverse reactions from the thing that's going around at the moment. And so I've been doing quite a bit of research in it. And I didn't even mean to do that research. And that just kind of happened because the client base were like, well, actually, this has happened. And I feel this. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's really interesting. Oh, someone's got a dog.
that would be mine that I just realized had not. Usually I kick out of the room, and in our
don't worry.
Our energetic beginning of this thing, I was like, oh, I forgot to kick the dogs out.
So I have a dog with those. Yeah, I do, but he's obviously at home. But I started to work with people that were sort of saying to me that they felt really unwell after certain choices they'd made, let's say, and with that led me to work with them further and further and look at what was really going on in the body, because obviously I can see it. And so I started to see differences, and that's when I created with the guides a healing chamber. Last August. I have many of them on my website, Galactic Healing Chambers, and this one was specifically for this situation. And
that's going to be getting even bigger as time goes on.
It's quiet for me at the moment because I don't really talk about it that much, obviously, for obvious reasons.
Yes,
but I can tell I'm being quite careful with my words. But the thing is more and more people are going to need that. But I think it is about awakening. So the ones that find that kind of technology, let's call it, they are awakening. So all the parts of them that they didn't heal, that they need to heal. And so
I'm right there with you. Having been an experiencer, it brought me an amazing healing and a different energy.
Exactly.
I'm right there with you, and on another time I'd love to have a conversation off a platform because by the way, Chrissy Newman just made sure I wanted to say hi, and it says Facebook user here, so I wanted to make sure you know that's what that is.
Hello, darling. Thank you.
But yeah, it's there's so many people out here. Yeah. My dog's got attention, so your dog had to get attention. It's just part of the universe.
I think my husband's coming home, and he's not coming in.
Can hear it.
Quickly, and the dog barks.
Going mad because of it.
Yeah. And so, but that's very interesting because one of the we've seen some of the trends even with the newer folks that are coming on here is. We're with you. It was a very slow. We were kind of all isolated, and that's part of our goal is to give a place where people can meet and learn things and reach out. This kind of platform, and it is much slower, but it is unbelievably speeding up, and the planets are aligning to help us move it through. Many people here have turned it off with traumas because things happened to them younger. And now they're trying to bring it back. And is that something you would like give a little hint? Because we have a lot of people who talk about, I turned my
Absolutely.
gifts off. I don't know what to believe, or they start their readings with, well, I'm not sure what I'm getting. So,
Kitty, you were exactly reading my mind, because that was the exact question that I was going to ask about that resistance to some of the awakening. That's,
Yeah.
we've been
Well, we've
finding.
had, if I could think about it on several levels. So definitely from the perspective of childhood trauma around our perceptions of ourselves. So it might be that, oh, I couldn't possibly do that. Who do I think I am? I've been brought up religious. I would feel stupid, whatever, that
Chiron and Aquarius in the second house. Yeah, I got it. So, yeah.
Well, it's funny because I have Chiron in Aries, and it's been transiting natally for the whole, for a long time. So it's very interesting. So, if people don't know, Chiron is the wounded healer. So it's bringing up lots of things for people at the moment. So that's one aspect. Definitely. And then another aspect would be our past lives, the times that we were killed for being a healer. We were ostracized for being a channel, for speaking the word of God. We were burnt, whatever happened to us. And so those aspects come forth with the karmic. Lovely talking to another astrologer, because it's lovely around the Pluto aspect, and the Scorpio nodes, the Taurus and Scorpio nodes obviously are now in, and they were Sag and Gemini before, and we're now in that Taurus and Scorpio is very, looking at the depths, isn't it, of karma and so on. So this is a really good time for people to really look at those parts, but it's also bringing up a lot of fear. And what I found from the what can you call it? The injection that people are having, let's call it that. What it's doing is bringing up, because it's done from fear, it's bringing up the fear and the traumas that haven't been looked at. So the physical body is showing that the blood is about identity. So we're seeing a lot of issues around blood, and that is because of identity. So the part of the brain, the medulla, which is, concerned to blood, is about identity. So we're looking at our identity, which runs very true what you've just asked about people sort of deciding whether they really want to be owning their channel for source of who they truly are as a being of light, or whether they choose to stay in the 3D of the fear and, I've lost my job, I'm living in a home, I'm in a relationship that isn't, serving me. All of this stuff is very 3D reality. Whereas what we're stepping into, as we all know, is this ascension energy, which is seamless love. And of course, we can't have a vibration of fear within seamless love, because it's the total opposite of what love is. So I think that's what's happening. I think it's really beautiful, even though it can be very, very difficult for people to go through, because they're having to take responsibility for their own healing. And that massively as a journey, and we're all on it. It's just whether we choose to listen to it or not. And I don't know if you feel this, but I feel we are going into new earth, and that new earth. So Jeshua, I work with Jeshua. He's just stepped right in here. Wants to say something in a sec. Hold on. So in the new earth aspect is not that we're going to all of a sudden catapult to a new earth. It's just that the new earth energy will be where the ease and grace, the guides are saying, the ease and grace will be where we're really stepped into our soul's mission. And then the other part of the earth will be those really struggling in the war energy and all of that we're seeing a kind of glimpse of at the moment.
Definitely, yeah.
With the Mars going into Capricorn. But Joshua steps in and says that, he's been saying this a lot recently, actually. He's saying that people think that there's a second coming of Jesus, but what the second coming is our own awakening to who we truly are. And that is the second coming, rather than the being a person or, someone who represents religion or spiritual. Actually, it's our own representation of ourselves. Thank you for that. He just wants to bring that in just very quickly, just to say that, because I think I'm still on fire now. So there's this point that we think that there's someone that's going to heal us, save us, do that. And of course we need channels and conduits and mediums and teachers and so on, and we're all that, but we don't need anyone to heal us. And that's a really, really important thing that I've spoken about for years. And it's just like, remember who you are, because you chose the body to be your barometer for your soul. You chose to have your guides to work with you, and you chose that you never were doing it on your own. And so then you don't feel fear. So if you don't have fear, you're not listening to a narrative of someone else. You know where I go with that, right?
Yes.
So you're not listening to somebody else's narrative. You're listening to your own inner guidance. I think that's a major timeline shift for people. Definitely.
I do. I thank your guide. Thank you for coming in and visiting with us. This is that age of Aquarius. We all have our spot. It's our mission control for new planet Earth taking off. We have our spot. We're learning it. We're learning it together. There's not one expert out there that knows it all. And
absolutely,
this particular energy right now, many of us are looking at these things that are arising, whether however we've manifested it, whatever our journey has been. And this just this week I came to understand, when I embrace all of the parts of myself, I don't need to name them. My shadow is me. I let go of a very old belief that it was something to fix. And it's an exciting time. And then there are some times where we just remember this is a human experience. So I can't always be above it. Sometimes I have to be. And I love your medical intuitive piece of it, because I know personally sometimes I disconnect from the physical because I'm so excited about being up here that it's like, hey, remember you took a body. There's a wisdom in this body that you're supposed to be accessing too. So that's so apparent for me at the moment, because my father actually passed over suddenly. Wasn't expecting it on the 17th, which is only like a week and a half, nearly 2 weeks ago. And I've been having to be in the massive 3D of sorting out his estate and finding out some interesting things about my dad that I didn't know. And he's been with me every day, which has been really lovely, closer now than he was here. And so it's a very interesting relationship. So I've been looking at the 3D, dealing with physicalities of a will, a funeral, so on. And this to me is all 3D, but like you said, very, very well, it's like we have to kind of be in this human experience as well as the source soul within us. But the key thing, I think, is living 100% in the moment. And I can do that really well. And I just go, you know what? It's all perfect and it all works itself out. We had an issue with a will. We couldn't find a will. No one talked about it, nothing. And I found it. And I was guided to go to this particular place in the house, to a particular cupboard. The house had been empty for a long time, and I found it. And I was like, yeah, thanks guys. Because it is just literally, when you stay in the present moment, there's your gift, and your guides, and of course my dad was guiding me as well, but your guides can really help you. But if we're in our fear, we have to be in this 3D. Of course, we have to oscillate between 3 and 5D. Driving up the motorway coming into London, I'm like, going to be late. But I'm like, you know what, guys, you've got to sort this out. And so it's worked out perfectly. But that's because I totally trust. Yeah. And so you have to be in the moment. You have to totally trust. And the way you can do that is releasing the fear of the unknown, the fear that you're doing it on your own. Those two rhyme quite nicely, don't they? Yes, they do.
And also the fear that, nothing outside there is going to get you. Yeah. And that is such a key thing. It's, I'm sure I was a doctor in a previous life or something, but it's like this feeling of like, there's nothing outside of you that can get you. It's perfect.
And because as you create the world you want to see, and that's sometimes hard to see when you watch the more media-driven world, you're like, there are times I want to say, you're creating this, you know that, right? And, that's a beautiful story, because the words that came to me this year were faith and adsum, which means am here. Add it to everything these years, because
I am present.
I am present, to be adsum is to be here. And, sometimes that's just the reminder we need. That was beautiful what you said. And of course you would find it. You see it is found, it's already done. And that's an amazing lesson, though. Sometimes it's not as easy to tap into,
Yeah. So I didn't have a really huge attachment to it. And I think one of the key things is I knew everything would work out anyway, but it was just that would have made me feel better if I could have found that, because it's almost like an intention that someone had for you, which is real integrity for me. But so if someone leaves you something, then you want to that's the scientist in me, probably the evidence of it. So as much as I knew it, to actually have it on black and white was what I needed. But I didn't worry about it. And I think the fear side of it, if you have the fear side of it, then you stop the flow, which we know, right? If you fight something, you get more fight. If you fear something, you get more fear. And so I didn't have an attachment to it, and I think that allows the flow to come in much easier for people.
I think so too. Should we see if anybody has questions about this?
Yeah, please write questions. Yeah, because as you get into the flow, there is a calmness. You're a wonderful reminder of how many of us lived with much more anxiety, and now that's just because this too shall pass. This is where we are, and I think part of the awakening is a level of it doesn't occur to me as much anymore. So
I think that's a really good point. Actually, it doesn't occur to me because it doesn't. It's kind of really hard to explain. When people say, "Do you not get stressed about things?" I'm like, well, stress isn't really the word.
Yes.
Like I'm editing my book at the moment to be published this year. That's busy, right? That's busy. I have 2 teenagers. That's busy. I have a funeral to sort out. That's busy. But I don't see it as a stress. Does that make sense? It's kind of like,
perfect.
I've got that, which is a lot to do.
Maybe we can come up with a word for what that is. It's like they're tasks, and yes, I put energy into them, but I'm no longer like, am I going to get this done? No, I just it doesn't even come into my kind of vocabulary, and so it doesn't. Of course it's going to happen. Of course it will be with ease and grace. Of course it's kind of, I suppose that must be the trust aspect of and the more that we become it, we come into the remembering of who we are. If we took this jacket off, this body, then underneath is just that infinite soul that has no thoughts, has no feelings, just knows the direction of why they came. To bring light to the planet, and however we were meant to bring the light to the planet. And so to help people, to support people, to be of service without detriment to ourselves, of course. But when we put the jacket back on, we remember all the things that we were told maybe at school, all the things we were told in the womb, all the things epigenetically we brought into in this lifetime, from our ancestors. We kind of remember the vibration and the frequency of it. So when we can step out of that, even if it is just for a moment, and I say to obviously my people I work with and my groups and so on, I always say just one moment. I have a YouTube channel as well that I come on every week and do a process, and it's just my name, Susan Kennard, and I want to reach more people with that because it's free. Just as you're doing, and it's really important to reach people, even if it's just for a moment, to say come into your heart just for a moment and just be in that peace, because in that moment your frequency changes, and so you're opening the door, aren't you, for knowledge or a guidance, and you come out of that fear, even if it's for 1 minute,
Yeah.
Well, it's
I love that because everybody can do a moment.
right.
Everybody
And
can get into that
Yeah.
for a moment.
But not
Doesn't mean
20
you're
minutes.
saying, you don't have to go and meditate for an hour. Take a
Yeah.
moment. So I love that. That's
Yeah.
beautiful and something that everyone can achieve and do.
and
when
there's your
they
Chiron
take
spark. I've got my Aries spark. You can ignite that in people. That is a gift. That takes that wound and makes it a tool. That's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it is just a moment. That's why we keep the platform free. We're here to bring people to awaken, to bridge onto where, because we need everybody. We need them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
And it's
the
stellium in my 11th house helps as well.
I have stellium in my 8th house.
Yeah.
So I get it. Yeah. I've got between the 8th house and my planets, I have 11 things in Scorpio.
Wow.
So
I think I have have Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Uranus.
Oh, excuse our geeky conversation on
Libra.
Astrology. Yeah.
Is mine.
But this is, so many people are commenting how this is beautiful. Busy, and I like the word something else besides stress. Happened just this moment. My dogs went to move, and instead I just went, this will be taken care of. And sure enough, my husband just opened the door and took them out of here. And when you can let go in the moment, it gets answered.
And we did that with coming on here, because my girlfriend will come to see, with her children and so on. She said, I'll set you up my laptop. But she works for the government, and she goes, no, I better not set you up with my laptop. So I said, no, you're probably best not to. So I'm just using my phone. And I'm like, actually, it works really well on my phone. It's exactly the same. So, it's fine. I just did it. It was much easier. So,
it was funny because we had a conversation earlier. I said to Amy, for some reason, I'm a little nervous. Like, we were aware something wasn't quite. And then you saw it. We both went, well, okay, so whatever it is, we're just going to go. Yeah. It's something new. Yeah. And it was wonderfully new. So do people have questions? Please type them in the chat. And so
are people on video? Because I can only see us three. I don't know if people coming on video or are they just on chat.
No, they're on chat. They're on both YouTube. And this will be uploaded to our playlist. And so before we leave, I want to make sure when I upload it, I put all your contact information so that they can find you and get a hold of you. And I post your spiritual podcast often anyway, especially when I catch it. So, well, it's amazing. I love, the fact that 2 of our members have been guests of yours just speaks to the synchronicities of, both Sandra and Chrissy. And Chrissy's been a great support of ours from day one, and so is Sandra. So it's so nice. With a lot of people, we have a lot of our presenters who now come back and participate in our spiritual nights. And
definitely open to that. I've got something coming up on the 2nd, because it'll be the second. It'll be 22222. The twos. I've got a galactic activation event, so we're going to be doing some channeling from the galactics and so on. So if anyone's interested in that,
we are.
It'd be great. Yeah.
We have our Tuesday night often turns with our spirit communication very galactic. We have people come and they practice and do all that. And of course, that is the day that the United States starts their Pluto return. So Pluto is a big player this year in general. Pluto and Taurus, everywhere you go.
But do you also think that the 222 aspect as well is about divine union?
Yes.
And so all of this month of February coming up, I'm going to work with that on the different interviews I'm doing. It's like to do with the divine union. So our divine complement, whether that's the person you're with or whether that's, within yourself, or you're looking for someone to be your divine complement or whatever it might be. But it's really looking at that union with spirit.
I'm looking at the divine male and female really rising together. I mean, we have we have February 2nd, February 20th, February 22nd, where we're just dealing with 2s all the way across. And so no mistakes in spirit world of what's happening this month. So
it's very powerful.
Yes, Sue, we will post, Susan.
For you,
Pardon?
saying that how wonderful you are. They're so happy to be here. They want a list of your events. So yes, Sue, we'll make sure that we
Goes my
post
website.
some things so that you'll have the information of how to attend those.
Sure.
Yes, we
A
will
lot of
post
people
on
want
IoT.
that. We'll get it for you.
We'll post on IOTS,
Yes.
and she does have we'll post the website because it's all there, the things that you can join. I did not know about the free YouTube though, so I definitely want to make sure we post
Yeah,
that.
my YouTube channel is just my name, Susan Kennard, so it's easy to find. Yeah.
Okay, because that's, we're into this whole, let's do it as much as we can to get more people awakening, because there's plenty for everyone,
Totally.
everywhere.
We're all one. We're all one.
That's
So
the thing. I mean,
we're just walking on the path together, all of us.
Exactly. Yeah. This is what I speak to my members about. I always say to them, there's no, like, I might be holding the space, for the members, and I might be helping and teaching, but we're all actually helping and teaching each other. And it's like we all came together in soul families. I call it my soul family, actually, but we all came together. Yeah. Do you? Yeah, it's so lovely. And it's like it's a soul family because we're all equal, and I think that's really important, that people realize that there isn't a hierarchy and there's nothing like that. We're just all equal.
I've been talking to in our group about, this is Houston. We have a rocket ship taking off, but we all have our space together. I'm not reaching over to your space to run it. My job is to hold my space. And in the best, since I don't know what's going to happen, I'm going to make it happen just the way I need it to be.
And we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm kind of glad about that. I think if I'd have known that my dad was going to suffer a sudden stroke and blood clots, on the 17th, which was a full moon in Cancer, and his funeral's actually going to be the full moon in Leo. Isn't that amazing? Like, he chose all of that, right?
So it's on the 16th. Yeah.
And if I'd have kind of known that, well, how would that help me?
Right.
Yeah. So I'd rather not know. I get a sense of what's going to happen in the world a little bit. I get shown it, but I don't really know. And the other thing is that, do we know, I speak to spirit all the time, but we're not going to know about passing over until we pass over. Right. And I think it's really important just to be open to every possibility and every eventuality. And the way that we do that is trusting that we're not on our own, that we have our own inner healer within, of course.
Yes.
And that we are soul having a human experience this time. And that soul
we chose it.
Yeah. Right. And what a time to be here. There's no mistake that these souls, all of us, everyone listening, and
I chose to be 60 in my 60s doing this, 50s and 60s,
and I chose to be 52 doing this.
Yeah. And I marveled at the younger people coming, and when we were having the climate was getting more and more tense. Very quickly I learned to say, Spirit has this. When I started to draw into it, Spirit has it, and thank God Spirit has it, because what do I,
What do
that's the thing about not needing to know everything that's going to happen, because then we're not in the present, and we're not in that trust mode that whatever's meant to be is going to come in for our best and our highest and greatest good kind of thing. It's you have to be in that present moment, not always anticipating. Like you said,
we have to kind of plan a little bit, don't we? Like, you have to have a few dates in the diary, but we don't have to know what's going to happen at that time. And that, when I get invited to go on the tele summits, the shows where we have a package and so on, they always say, what do you want to do it on? I'm like, I just don't know, because in that moment you're asking me 6 months before I go on. Right now will be completely different to right then. So I have to kind of make something up and then change it as I go along, because it just isn't what it's going to be in 6 months' time. So that's why I love these things with you guys, and my podcast, because I don't, it's great. I'm just me, and I'm just the team come in when they need to, which they did, and they continue to, but I don't think about it, and I don't prepare for it, because I don't need to, and I kind of love that.
It is. It's because my right now, especially as I level up, becomes a different level that I'm on.
Yeah.
So, what I know, I don't recognize who I am. So why would I recognize who I will become? Don't recognize who I was to what I become. So yeah, this present is such a exciting time. And, it is nice. Spirit has it. Great. Let me go on and take care of what I have to take care of right now and who I run across. And we're definitely, intuition of the soul is about what does my soul tell me to do right now in this moment. Mary has a question. She says, I always thought I talked to myself in my head and that everyone did that. Is that my guides?
That's a great question, right?
Yeah.
For all of us.
Because that's exactly what we were talking about early on. Yes.
Yeah. I think it does. Just this very short answer to it, really, and it's a much longer answer. But and we do teach this in the advanced class that I run. But it's really about listening to the quality of what you get as your conversation. So with Joshua, like, he stepped in and I could see him in my mind's eye and I could hear what he was saying. And the same with some of the galactics that pop in, and I see them and get the sense of them. If I didn't see them, that's a different thing for me, because clairvoyance was really important for me. But when I hear in my inner knowing and my inner voice, if it's a quality of love, then I know that it is truly beautiful source talking within me, and it is my inner voice. If somebody hears something that's not very nice or unkind, and you do meet mediums that say, that's really, you shouldn't really do that. But that's not working from source, because source is pure love. So you never would get a message from a medium working from pure love that would warn you and say you shouldn't do that, or you should split up with that person, or you should do that. That's not working from source. That's their own feelings. So really listening to the quality of it is what I would say to Mary, is that if it feels loving, if it feels supportive, then you definitely know that it is source within.
Yes.
Or without, meaning your guides, but source within.
And she says, how do I awaken it completely? And first thing that comes is it's a process. It's an unwinding.
It really is, but we are being fast tracked, and I have a free video course if anyone's interested in it. It's just, there's a little button on my website that says free gift, and in that free video course, which I created last year, there's a connection video where you're connecting with your Earth star and your soul star, and you're really connecting to that part of you, grounding, connecting Mother Earth and the universe. And then Kristen's just messaged me and said she's watching me. That just flashed up on my screen. And then the second one is connecting with your guides, so taking you through the process like a recipe of connecting with your guides. And the third video is connecting with your body, so connecting with the messages that your body is trying to tell you. So that's free if anyone wants to go on and get that. It's on my website, Susan Kennard.
And so you don't mind, because of course I'm kind of putting you on spot because we're on air, but
Sure.
we're starting we've been guided really to start up like a Spirit 101, navigating, awakening, because there are things to learn about protection, how you deal.
I talk about that as well.
To how you deal with people in your life, how all of those things. So that might be something, if you're okay, we can. Part of what we are, resources to guide, to say, hey, this is okay, great, because it's not an easy thing, and it is faster, and physically, I know how sometimes I go like, this is how I am for a day, because there's just so much happening that there's a lot of things happening. But
absolutely, no, feel free to share it wherever you want to share it. And it is, and it is step by step, and I'm on a video and I'm talking to you, and it's as if I'm talking to you live. So hopefully it'll help people.
Well, and we want to make sure we have a space where people who are awakening can at least talk to each other and have some tools, because there are some leaders out there that are a little not of what I think is source driven. So is that a nice way to say that?
That's really interesting. I noticed a bit of that, and the way that I'm seeing it now is it's about our discernment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about discerning if that message that you're hearing feels a resonance to your frequency, then that's a good thing. And even if that person is known as well, a very well-known spiritual teacher, let's say, from a very long time ago, you know, what message are they giving you? If it isn't a message that, you know, really, what's the word, resonates with your frequency, or you just kind of go, oh, that feels different, then that probably isn't the right frequency for you, but that might be the right frequency for someone else. So, you know, we can't, you know, everyone's here, soul having a human, right? So they're really helpful for us because it allows us to discern what is the frequency match. It's the same as partners, you know, it's the same as partners. They've got to be a frequency match or else there's no point.
Well, and we're in this Age of Aquarius humanitarian bigger group. We're going to be learning new things about groups and how that frequency works in a bigger thing, because we come from the family structure, and we all know about dysfunctional family. You having worked, God bless you, with children that are in crises. We have new things to learn. The inner child. We have new things to learn on how to do this. It's not like we've had a society set up to say, hey, we're all going to join hands and sing Kumbaya. There are new frequencies to learn how we're going to put those things together.
Well, my book, you know, I was very honoured to win a publishing contract last year with, it's Hay House, but it's the Balboa Press arm of Hay House. And my book is really a self-healing book. So it's kind of like a teaching book because it's got all my processes that I use with the inner child in it, called Awaken the Light Within Your Heart. So it's going to awaken the light within your heart. So I did that because I thought, how else can I reach people? And as you're saying quite rightly, you know, like we're trying to reach people so that they can remember who they are and wake up to who they are. And not because it's what you believe, but what they can find themselves. So your platform is for that, you know, so people can listen to me, listen to you, listen to someone else and say, does that resonate? Yeah, that resonates. But it is about our own inner healing journey, isn't it? And so that's full of childhood trauma processes, alongside the guides weaving their inspiration throughout. So that was fun.
Having tools is really important too. You know.
It is.
Is this the book you're working on now?
So up until my dad surprised me with not being here, I was getting on really well with editing it and sending it off to the publishers. But I've decided that on Monday, rather than doing some other 3D work, I'll do some more fifth dimensional stuff, and I'll be editing some more of it. So I think it's pretty much done, ready to go off. So I'm hoping to have it published by October.
When it comes out, we would be honored if we could do it in our book club, and maybe you'd come back and talk to us. We have a monthly book club, and we'd love to feature people that we actually know and who are part of our process. So if you let us know, we'll definitely.
I'd be honored.
We would love to do that.
Definitely do that. Yeah. Or maybe do it quicker. Or make me get it up. The thing with getting a publishing contract, that really pushes you. So if you don't have one, it's like, self-published, I've got to self-publish, I've got to do all that stuff myself, which is really hard. But when you've got a publishing contract, I haven't got a deadline, but I have got a reason, you know, because they're going to help me big time with the front cover and all the beauty bits, you know, which I would have had to outsource otherwise. So I'm really pleased about that. And they help me with the edit. So it makes you feel like you've got a bit of a deadline. But the guides are nudging me so much. I mean, it's right. You've got to get it out there.
This 2 vibration is about this. Get ready for this new Earth rocket going off, and it definitely. And we're very honored because it's really nice we have done a couple people to have that. They come back and they'll talk, and they can talk about what they meant in their book. And they, I talked to one of our authors. Just yesterday, and then she gets also the feedback of how people read things. So that was
well. The guys told me
part about it. They had them come back, and then You know,
Sure.
they can say, well, what do you mean by this? Or how did
Yeah.
you do that? So we love that. We discuss it and then have you come back, and it's a lot of fun.
The guides they told me when I was channeling it, they said each word is coded. And so what I did,
Ooh.
which was amazing, so what I did is I sent it out to a couple of my girlfriends, and I just said, just read this for me. This was just the first draft. I said, just read it for me and tell me what you feel. And one of my friends, Corinne, she might listen to this as well. She said, oh my God, she goes, when I was reading it, she said, I could feel all this energy through me. And she said, I just wanted to read more and more and more and more. So that was really lovely, because it told me that actually, the coded energy through the guides' words was, really going to help people, even if they didn't do the process,
Oh no, I'm really excited because
I am too. I was going to say, come on.
I understand
Keep reminding me. Get that book out there.
Well, and I get, I'm a little bit. It's interesting as I got older, become that science geek. Like I follow Nasima Raim and a bunch of more spiritual, and so the idea of reading a book and getting a code is ooh. Actually, Corinne's coming on the 10th of February, and on in our group. She's coming to do a program.
Bishop?
Oh no, this Jenner.
That's her maiden name. Yeah. That's her maiden name. Oh, amazing!
I didn't know that was her maiden name. Yes, she's coming in on the 10th to do her connecting program. We've got her promo to go out really quickly. So hey guys, now you just got another connection to come for the 10th.
Yeah.
She's on at 4.
One of my best friends and lives.
She's on at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yep. So she's coming on. I did her chart. It was very cool.
She's done a lot of my courses, so that's really cool as well. So I love we're in the same.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. The world is so huge, and yet the 6 degrees of separation continue to get,
sure.
Well, that's
much
what
smaller.
The last 2 years of kind of this energy has been. We would have never met you and met all these other people had we not, had to go and do some of the things that we're doing online and reaching out and seeing how the world is huge, but it's not. We can make these connections all around the world. Yeah. And know that we're all in it together,
And we met purely Spirit brought us together. I'm not going to say by accident.
How did we meet? I can't. Yeah, not by accident. But how was it?
Well, we met through Chrissy and Corinne, because she said, "Oh, you've got to reach out to," and Chrissy gave me Corinne, but Chrissy we met through another group, Intuition Circle, and then we all got to be friends. She taught Amy Reiki. And actually Chrissy doesn't live very far from me, so I've actually been now to her house, so we've had that kind of fun. And
I feel like I've been in her garden, even though I haven't been in her garden.
Her garden is amazing, especially the gnome picture. For the rest of my life, I will that gnome picture. But that's how it starts to. I met Sandra, and so it was great when she said, "Oh, I've been on her show." Via another group, and that's just kind of. So we started. Actually, Sandra and Chrissy. I just made this connection. The two were our first 2 guests that we even had on IOTS. So that was the energy that were our first presenters that went out from there. So.
Well, I met Chrissy. She's listening now. I'll spill out all the beans, Chrissy. But I met Chrissy because she came on my advanced channeling course, and she was incredible, absolutely incredible. So it made me brilliant. I'm so glad, and she's flying, and she's great.
Oh, she is.
Yeah.
When amazing. We laugh because whenever we try to have a conversation, we spend most of the time glitching the technology, and it's pretty funny actually. It was great to meet in person, as a matter of fact, because then there's no other glitch. But that is kind of how this all starts.
It's a soul family, isn't it? It really is a soul family, and more and more I think people are realizing that perhaps their family they've chosen, that's great. Soul contracts and pre-birth soul contracts are amazing, right? But the other soul family is different. The soul family where you can speak about what you do, you can speak about spirit. Not always in your family can you do that, and
no,
definitely not mine.
Though it is amazing. Just the other day, I had a little, I woke up first of all with a feather stuck to me, and then I was making the bed, and there was no feathers around. I don't have feathers in my bed. And the fan went off, and my husband came in, and we were looking, and he said, I'll just take it apart. And then he calls me back, and he goes, somebody threw the switch. Now I was nowhere near the switch. And I looked at him and said, that was spirit. And he goes, it had to be, because I know you weren't over there. So you start to, it's those little awakenings. Yeah. Put the seed, it will grow. Put the seed, it will grow.
We were clearing out the house that I've inherited with my brother, and we were clearing it out, and just some paperwork and stuff, old stuff. And my mum was there as well, and she was helping out. And there was a noise in one of the rooms in the back, and my mum said, oh, do you think that's your dad? Like, my mum said that, you know. So and you know, she doesn't really speak about spirit. She's very medical model and stuff. And it was so interesting, and I was like, oh, it could be.
You know, it's very funny how we do those little seeds do. There's a lady on here, Nancy Nan, who I met through Daphne, who I met through Jeanette Biro, and we find each other, and then we draw each other back in. You know, it is so nice, which is one reason we wanted to create a place where you could safely say, hey, have you ever had, you know, all that stuff. So
when you're saying that, Kitty, create that space that's safe, it was 11111.
See, perfect. See? Oh yeah.
Amazing. See, you know, I feel very blessed because 11 has always been. I'm born 11/11, and
I'm
in the
11th
11th. Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, we really have to have a big conversation. And so 11s for you too. All your life, you're looking at them, and you know,
October. Yeah, it was. Yeah, very much, and I see it a lot now in the car, and you know, all those triple numbers and quadruple numbers. Yeah.
But now people are noticing them, and so you start going, oh. You know, like, so that's really fun. So, and Sandra just posted 11/11.
Yeah. This has been a great conversation. I know you can't see the comments, but people are just saying, you know, how much they're enjoying this and commenting on the things that you say. So this has been amazing. I'm glad you could make it, even if, you know, we had a little rocky start. I'm so glad that
you got an interesting background, and doesn't matter.
Well, I love the poster.
I don't even know what the poster is. It's not my room. Oh wow!
That's
which one?
The one with it looks like the stars behind it. It's a person. It's over the longer one.
Yeah, it's got a sword. I'm not sure about that.
Oh, I see. We can't see that part. It looks.
That's good.
It looked. All we can see is the swirl that looks like stars.
Boys,
and so it's pretty good for a teenage boy.
This is cool. I like this.
An emoji pillow. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I like this is what I'm liking in this room. It's cool.
Yeah.
You know. So, but anyway, we want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really have appreciated it. You gave us a wonderful start because we were like, okay, well, we're going to learn something new. And so we learned a lot from you and ourselves. We learned, you know, it just was an amazing experience. Thank you so much.
And I'm
all about remembering, isn't it?
Checking out your YouTube. It's amazing that you've offered those free gifts on your website. So please, people, check those out, and it's amazing, and so excited for your book.
Yes, it is. It is. Oh yeah, the book. Yeah, it is about remembering who we all are, and that, you know,
I can. Gifts. You know, it's not really. We're not really learning much now. I think we're really just remembering it all, and everyone is remembering. Yeah.
Oh, perfect, Sue.
Read what Sue said. She says, "Fantastic and so worth the wait."
So sorry, I was late.
No reason to. Yeah, we you gave us an opportunity, and we're just so blessed that you came. And so we'll hopefully see you on the 14th at 4 p.m. because that will be Corinne. So you know. Come and
she maybe
come
told
and watch.
Me that, you know, I don't remember her telling me, Corinne, make sure you tell me these things.
Yes. You know, I had the opportunity to do her chart. It was lovely. It was fun. So
amazing.
yeah. So but
yes,
anyways,
I know her chart pretty well. It's pretty
yeah.
profound.
She said you did.
Yeah.
So I said,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
So
Great.
anyway, thank you so
All right,
much.
lovely. Well, have a happy new moon in Aquarius coming up. But that's my third house, so it's interesting. Ooh. Yeah.
And my second, and of course today is, you know, Venus is direct. 326.
Yes, isn't it? It is. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So the retrograde's been really interesting for everyone, looking at what they really truly love, right?
What they truly love, and it's joining Mars. So now we have this really great way that we can magnify and make that be,
push it forward.
And let so many things go. But that's what's coming up for people. That's why it's so heavy, guys. It's because you're in the observer. It's gone. You can go. It can say, you know.
Yeah, but you have to let it go.
Yeah, you
and
do.
It's that freedom, isn't it, to say, well, actually, if I let this go, what will be there for me? Well, something even better.
Yes. Yeah. When the space is created, sometimes it's like this. There's something else that will definitely be able to step up. That synthesizing thing.
That's when we go.
That's when you go. Things are definitely synthesizing, but just this February is such a busy month, guys. It's just incredibly.
A busy month. Yeah, it's a busy month for me, but it's a busy month generally in the stars, isn't it?
In the stars,
so
yes.
It's a great month. I think and it's a month of love, isn't it? So it's perfect that Venus has gone direct.
It's actually an amazing year. All our eclipses and things in Taurus and Scorpio and our north nodes, and this is about pulling out things by the root, changing them, and putting new earth, new seeds in. That's what this is just about. So thank you again. We could talk for all the time. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Make sure you check Susan Kennard out on all of her wonderful platforms, which we will link in Intuition of the Soul, so you will be able to get to them. All right.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Love. Bye-bye.